New York, New York, so good we race it twice. This is round 11 of 15 in the FIA Formula E World Championship, the New York City E-Prix. This all-electric single-seater racing series brought street racing back to the 5 boroughs for the first time since 1896. And after a 2-year hiatus due to the global pandemic, Formula E has returned to Brooklyn for its second race of the weekend. Nikki Shields, Amanda Busick and 4-time IndyCar champion Dario Franchitti join me, Jack Nicholls, and this is the grid. Jean-Eric Vergne and Max Günther finished first and second yesterday. They're at the back of the grid today, along with championship leader Robin Freins. Stoffel Van Dorn, usually a front-runner, made a mistake in qualifying, and he is down in 20th place on the grid. 16th is Oliver Rowland, a top 10 finisher yesterday afternoon, and 14th is the other championship leader. Eduardo Mortara and Robin Freins tied on points at the top of the standings, but Mortara is 14th. René Rast and Lucas de Grassi, the two Audis, will be looking to come through the field and score some points. You get points for finishing inside the top 10, and in that position at the moment is Norman Nato, the Frenchman racing for the Rocket Venturi team, who use customer Mercedes powertrains. These behind the two Mahindras. Alexander Sims did a reasonable job in qualifying to be 9th, and he is up behind his teammate Alex Lynn, who almost moved into the lead of the race yesterday before a mistake at turn 1. He's going to have his work cut out to repeat that this afternoon. Then we have the DS Techeetah of Antonio Felix da Costa. He's the reigning champion. He starts 7th on the grid, and in the championship standings, he's 5th. So it could be a good afternoon for him. Andre Lotterer starts 6th, the German, racing for the Tag Heuer Porsche team. And then it's the very impressive Sergio Sette Camara for the Dragon Penske Autosport squad at their home race. 4th on the grid is the other Porsche, this time in the hands of Pascal Wehrlein as he looks to take his first win for the mark. He did win in Mexico 3 weeks ago before being disqualified. Nick Cassidy from New Zealand lines up just behind his compatriot Mitch Evans, and it is a Jaguar 1-2 on the front row of the grid. Evans being out-qualified by his teammate Sam Bird, who's won twice here in New York City in the past in Formula E's first visit 3 years ago. So we're about to get going. 45 minutes plus 1 lap of action. The drivers will have 2 attack modes to use. We'll go into more detail about that when it comes up. There's also fan boost up for grabs, and they need to make sure they get to the end of this E-Prix without using all of the energy in their battery. You can get involved in fan boost on the right-hand side. Hashtag NYC E-Prix if you want to get in touch. Dario Franchitti. This is going to be a fascinating race, especially with these two Jaguars being at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating first corner. I think the Jaguars got to be careful not to trip each other up into the first corner, and then for the rest of the field, there's no rules. It's just the battle will be on straight away from the time the lights go out, Jack. So yeah, fasten your seatbelts for this first corner, and then the next 45 minutes plus a lap.
Huge burnout there from Sergio Sette Camara. The 24 drivers lining up on the grid. Now, the left-hand side, as we look at it, the driver's right, but as we look head-on, the left is the cleaner side of the track. We're expecting that group of cars to get away a little better. It's Sam Bird on pole position for Jaguar on the left-hand side. Alongside him on the front row is his teammate Mitch Evans. The 2021 New York City E-Prix about to get underway in Formula E. All 5 lights are on. And we go green in New York City. Good start from Bird, but it's a better start from Cassidy. He is going to pull alongside Mitch Evans down into the first corner. Evans locks up. He's so close to going into the back of his teammate. He somehow holds on to second position. That was incredibly close between the two Jaguars out front. It's a very good start as well from one of the Porsches they've got together. Sergio Sette Camara is still running there in 4th position. Da Costa is up into 6th place. Lotterer actually has dropped back, and now Evans is defending, coming down into the left-hander at turn 6 at the end of Bound Street. Everybody safely through the first couple of corners, I think, although they're now starting to fan out and go side by side on the attack into this left-hander. But Sam Bird has held the lead of the race. The Jaguar of Mitch Evans is in 2nd position, and oh, Jean-Eric Vergne hasn't got off the line. Jean-Eric Vergne has not started the race after breaking down in qualifying. Vergne's race does not even begin. Bird leads, Evans 2nd. Safety car deployed because that DS Techeetah is in a dangerous position on the start-finish straight. Dario Franchitti, I thought that Bird and Evans were going into each other there.
Yeah, it was pretty close, but actually a perfect start for the Jaguar team. Not so You have to say, though, for Jean-Eric Vergne not to even get off the line, that is absolutely tragic, and that just compounds his day of misery after finishing second yesterday. So, yeah, but right now for the Jaguar boys, 1-2, it's looking pretty good.
43 minutes plus 1 lap to go, and there you can see why we have the safety car.
Through turn 14.
So, a dramatic start to this race in New York City. So we're behind the mini electric pace setter. Here's a look at the replay, and Dario, exactly what Mitch Evans thought would happen did happen, and I really thought he was going into Sam Bird at this first corner.
I could tell that you got a bit high-pitched there, Jack, as it all started to happen, but you can see the right side of your screen, that lane is just so much dirtier, the acceleration, the electric motor's torque just not able to go to the road. Yeah, I mean, Mitch Evans played that absolutely perfectly, but you can see the guys on the right side, they're really battling their way through. Those on the driver's left are heading backwards. So, yeah, that's what happens with the dirty street circuit. A really quick change. All the lights going out. That was an incredibly quick change, and some of the guys got caught with the reactions. Nick Cassidy thought about going round the outside of Mitch Evans, and then wisely thought better of it. You see,
it was Lotter actually got
5 wide at the back.
Yeah, it was Lotter actually got shuffled back a little down to 8th position, and Vergne's car is still there at the final corner. He's trying to get the car started, obviously, but unable to do so at the moment. Nikki Shields, your thoughts on that opening lap?
Well, I think James Barclay is breathing a big sigh of relief to see both of his drivers cleanly through the first turn. But obviously now it's a moment for them to kind of settle down, let the nerves calm down. But of course they've still got 42 minutes plus 1 lap ahead of them. Massive commiserations for Jean-Eric Vergne. You know, talk about go from absolute highs to lows. He's had 2 championship wins here. Of course, he had the podium yesterday. And it's just one of those things in Formula E. If you start off having a bad day, it just seems to go from bad to worse. And that's exactly what's happened to him today.
So, safety car will be coming in this lap. We'll be getting racing back underway. Lights will go off on the mini electric pace setter, and then it will be up to Sam Bird to decide when to restart the race. Has to happen before he comes over the timing line.
Just having a look at the timings, Nick de Vries managed to move up to 18th on the grid. He started down in 22nd place, so that was a great opening lap for him.
Yep, good progress indeed. Here they come then, waiting for Sam Bird to take the restart. Through the final few corners.
Green flag, green flag.
We get racing back underway on the streets of Brooklyn, New York City. This is the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, and it is Sam Bird who leads as the race begins again after a brief safety car period. His Jaguar teammate Mitch Evans is second. Then it is Nick Cassidy in the purple Envision Virgin racing car in 3rd place. Sergio Sette Camara is 4th for the Dragon Penske Autosport squad, ahead of the Porsche of Pascal Wehrlein as they come through the right-hander of the dock loop, down Bound Street again towards turn 6. 40 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Tom Blomqvist is under investigation, but he's running down in 17th position, so not going to have too much of an impact on this race. But now, Dario Franchitti, the race starts to settle down and we start to see what pace everybody has.
Yeah, absolutely right, Jack. And it's one thing going quickly, but energy management is such a big part of Formula E2 and going quickly. We have a yellow flag on circuit, it's gone away again. But the cars actually start the race as we see Da Costa trying to challenge the Porsche.
And then Lotterer tries to take advantage of that and get past Sims. They're going to be side by side coming up to Buttermilk Bend. Lotterer on the inside. He's a robust overtaker, does not give up easily and hasn't given up there. He gets through past Alexander Sims, up into 7th place, Dario.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was saying, the cars start the race, but the Audi's got problems. It looks like a flat left rear tyre.
René Rast with damage in the Audi, and he comes into the pits. Disaster for René Rast after qualifying well in 11th, almost getting up into the points-paying positions. He's now out of the running. There's also damage on the front of Norman Nato's car, isn't there? Can't quite work out what that is on the front of Nato's car, but it's still Bird leading the way. Evans in second. Action so frantic. Try and get your point again, Dario.
Yeah, I think that damage on the front of Norman Nato's car is actually the back of the diffuser from a car that he's hit before. And there's another part of another car lying in turn 7 in the middle of the circuit. I will try again. The cars start the race with not enough energy to actually finish it, so they've got to regenerate that energy, put the energy back at the battery under braking and then under regeneration. It's basically like charging your phone. Every time they brake, they're essentially putting that energy, reversing the motor, putting energy back into the battery. And that's part of the skill set as Alexander Sims in the first Mahindra takes attack mode. I'll let you explain attack mode, Jack.
How very kind of you. Alexander Sims now will have a 35 kilowatt power boost for the next 4 minutes, Nikki.
Yeah, and you get to use it not once, but twice during the course of the race. And a 35 kilowatt power boost is actually quite a significant amount. That's a 17.5% increase, which if you suddenly inject that into your car, it does make a big difference when no one else around you has. So you can see on the timings at the side, looking at the chevrons, that's going to indicate who has activated their attack boost so far. So Alexander Sims and Stoffel van Dorn.
The two Olivers doing battle, but this is the race leader, Sam Bird. Jaguar Racing 1 and 2. Bird, the British driver, ahead of Mitch Evans from New Zealand, then Nick Cassidy from New Zealand as well. Still got that little bit of bodywork on the exit of turn 6, but that'll stay there, I think, for the probably the remainder of the race, unless we get another full course yellow or safety car. Look at the cars bouncing over those curbs, these all-electric single-seaters squabbling in Red Hook here. You see Governor's Island over to the right-hand side, Manhattan over to the left now as we look at it as they come through this left-hander at turn 10. Also activating attack mode now is Andre Lotterer, who still comes out ahead of Alexander Sims, who he was fighting with previously over 7th position. But the gap at the front has gone up to 9/10 of a second to Mitch Evans, side by side here. And Roland and Turvey still side by side, as they have been for a while. And they're queued up behind Nick de Vries, who is up in the 16th place. But the two Jaguars, Nikki, out front.
I mean, Nick de Vries is doing an absolutely sterling job at the moment. But here we go, Sam Bird and Mitch Evans taking the lead of the race here in New York City. This is the moment that Sam Bird has been looking for. He has done a lights to flag victory on the streets of Brooklyn once before, back in 2017, season 3, the first time that Formula E came to New York. Can he do it again? The fact that he has got Mitch Evans behind him, almost protecting him from the rest of the pack, has only got to be a benefit for him. The question is, who's going to be quicker out of the Jaguars?
Jake Dennis has made up the most places on the opening few laps, gaining 6 positions in the BMW. But Sam Bird won the second race of the season in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. He then finished second in the next race in Rome as Antonio Felix da Costa activates his attack mode. But since then, he's barely scored any points, Sam Bird. So this would be a real return to form and a move back towards the top of the championship. 35 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Huge game changer when it comes to the championship fight. I mean, there's 4 points just between Sam Bird and Mitch Evans.
Still racing here in New York City. So Bird's advantage comes down to 7/10 of a second.
Reference Lotterer P6, da Costa and Sims all in first attack.
Nick Cassidy being told by his engineer Stephen Lane, who turned 36 yesterday, that the drivers he just mentioned, Lotterer, da Costa and Sims, are in their first attack mode now.
So if Sam Bird won this race, that would put him to the top of the standings. And the thing that the team are going to be looking at...
Mortara and Dennis are having a crunch there, coming down into 7. And Mortara almost spins out after contact with Dennis. He's stuck against the wall. He's going to have to find reverse gear. And the championship leader is in the wall and is barely going to score any points today. He's going to get going again, but he's dropped all the way down to 21st position. Here, meanwhile, is Sergio Sette Camara, who's activated his first attack mode. He drops back into 6th place now, behind Andre Lotterer. So I think that's a change for position. Lotterer has used attack mode to a nice advantage here, and he's up behind his teammate in the other Porsche of Pascal Wehrlein as they come across the line down towards turn 1. Will this give the Jaguars or the Nick Cassidy and Vision Virgin car the chance to take their attack mode on this lap? 34 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Because that is ironically the most important thing. You know, where is Edo Mortara, the championship leader, going to finish? Well, for Bird and Evans, they can relax a bit more because it doesn't look like he's going to be taking home any points. Robin Friends also on points, level point.
Mr. Costa being told some information on his team radio. He's running in 7th place. Bird leading, Evans 2nd, Cassidy 3rd, Verline 4th, Lotterer 5th, Sede Camera, De Costa, Sims, De Grassi's up into 9th place, and there go the two Jaguars in unison, activating their attack mode. Bird holds the lead, but Cassidy jumps up into 2nd place ahead of Mitch Evans. So the purple car of Nick Cassidy is up into 2nd spot, and there you can see the attack modes remaining on the tower on the left-hand side. Sam Bird leading the way as he comes around the left-hander at Clinton Wharf, out over the start-finish straight again. And will Cassidy be under pressure from Evans? Yes, there goes Evans up the inside, and he makes it through back into 2nd place.
Beautiful pass there.
Mate, let them pull you along. Max efficiency, let them pull you along.
Sam Bird and Mitch Evans are running 1st and 2nd, the two Jaguar drivers in the New York City E-Prix here on the streets of Red Hook, Brooklyn. And there's an attack from Andre Lotterer. He goes past Sergio Sede Camera. Lotterer up into 5th place in the Tag Heuer Porsche. Lovely move there. And we have got 32 minutes plus 1 lap of this race to go. Myself, Jack Nichols, Nicky Shields, and Dario Franchitti with you for the call. Dario, fascinating first 10 or 15 minutes here.
Yeah, absolutely right. We were thinking it was going to be just a Jaguar party up front, but Nick Cassidy is really keeping them honest at the moment. I'm a bit concerned though with the messages going back from his engineer talking about maximum efficiency, because yesterday he overconsumed energy and that ultimately cost him the race win after leading most of the race. So he's really got to watch that today. Again, it's easy to save energy, it's easy to go fast, very, very difficult to do both. And here we see Edo Mortara again getting spun round by Jake Dennis. And that was obviously just a difference of opinion, and those guys getting a bit upset with each other. And round goes Edo Mortara, the championship leader at that point. Then he has to find reverse, and that does not take, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Real frustration for Eduardo Mortara, the championship leader, or joint championship leader with Robin Friends.
1.5 more than us. Green code.
Sam Bird being told to save a bit more because Mitch Evans, his teammate, running in 2nd place, has a little bit more energy.
And you can see there that Sam Bird and Mitch Evans are both still in attack mode. They've got 2 minutes remaining, as indicated by the 2 chevrons on the graphic at the side of the screen.
31 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Does anyone go into attack mode this time? No, they all stay together. So Bird, Evans and Cassidy, the front 3. Verline 4th, and 5th is Andre Lotterer. So then it's the 2 Porsches. Then it's De Costa, Sims, a gap back to Buemi. This is Lucas De Grassi running in 10th place, just ahead of Norman Nato and Alex Lynn. Those 3 all squabbling over the final points paying position. But Sam Bird is almost a second ahead now of Mitch Evans. And Evans is only just in front of Cassidy. Cassidy's doing a good job staying with them at the moment, but he will be activating his first of 2 attack modes fairly soon, you would have thought, as they come through the dock loop this time around, Nicky Shields.
Yeah, and this is when strategy really comes into it. The attack mode, when you're going to use it, is it better to go early? Ultimately, you want to build up enough gaps. If you do use it, you don't lose a position, which was why it was brilliantly executed by Bird. Evans obviously got caught behind Nick Cassidy, but made up the pace. I mean, it looked like Nick Cassidy almost gave the position back quite quickly. Let's go on board with Sergio Sede Camera, who was in Superpole for the 2nd time today, putting in a sterling job for the Dragon Penske Autosport team.
Going a bit defensive into the hairpin, isn't he? Because he's got the reigning champion Antonio Felix da Costa right behind him. There through attack mode goes Sebastian Buemi in the blue and red Nissan. So many huge car manufacturers involved in the Formula E World Championship. There you can see the damage that's sliced through the front almost of Norman Nato's car as he's still under big pressure. De Grassi's dropped back because he took his attack mode, but he's dropped back further than I thought he would have done, actually activating attack mode, Lucas De Grassi. So not ideal stuff for the Brazilian, and here comes the attack now. Nato covering the inside, it's Alex Lynn to the outside. Lynn trying to go all the way around the outside at turn 1, just runs out of room there, Dario.
Yeah, and he ran out of attack mode as well, so that his power advantage is gone. So now he's got to regroup, try not to let Lucas De Grassi behind him get ahead of him, and he's got to stay close to Norman Nato. That's That's part of the battle these drivers are doing. And as they're driving around, they're trying to be inch perfect on this circuit. The engineers are non-stop talking to them.
It's going to be very tight. It'll be very tight. It's up to you. If we do, it's red. It's red lights.
There you go. Example of that. That is non-stop every corner. We don't listen into all the communication because some of it is very proprietary. So the two Porsches running side by side. And Andre Lotterer goes ahead of Pascal Wehrlein. Big defensive move, though, from Alexander Sims on Sergio Sette Camera.
Can't get it stopped, though. Sergio Sette Camera gets through and gets ahead of Alexander Sims and up into 7th place. Sims has used 2 of his attack modes, as has Sergio Sette Camera, actually. As it stands, with this order, Bird and Evans finishing 1st and 2nd would move to 1st and 2nd in the championship standings. Bird would be 3 points clear of his teammate. They'd then be 6 points clear of Eduardo Mortara and Robin Freitz. This could be a huge afternoon as far as the 2020-2021 season is concerned, because Sam Bird is leading, Mitch Evans in the other Jaguar is 2nd, but Nick Cassidy is sticking with them, trying to spoil the party. And the two Porsches now starting to squabble. We're on board with Pascal Wehrlein, who's chasing his teammate Andre Lotterer. Wehrlein is in attack mode, so you wouldn't have thought they would fight too hard, or we may see Lotterer going through attack mode this time. I would also hazard a guess, we might see Nick Cassidy in 3rd place activating his 1st attack mode as he comes down into turn 10, and actually he does, but it's also a 2nd attack mode for Bird. And if it finishes like this, the Jaguars would move to the top of the championship. Bird activates attack mode, and then he's let back through by Mitch Evans. That is some proper team play going on there, Dario.
Yeah, if that was team play, it was beautifully choreographed. It looked like Sam had perfect position and Mitch played the team game as well. Nothing stupid there. These guys, they are definitely team players. James Barclay, the team principal, has got both drivers focused on the main job. They don't care which of the Jaguars win, just that one of them does so. And yeah, they're looking very, very strong at the moment.
27 minutes plus 1 lap to go here in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Still 27 minutes to go. I saw a very pensive looking James Barclay, but there's almost nothing to be pensive about, Nikki. It's looking
Oh, don't say it
control.
too soon. We've still got 26 minutes and 1 lap to go. And you know anything can happen in Formula E, so I think don't get too ahead of yourself at the moment. But the fact that Sam Bird and Mitch Evans are working so well together as a team just shows how well these guys get on. You know, Sam Bird is new to Jaguar Racing. He spent most of his Formula E career with Envision Virgin Racing. And it seems that they've got a brilliant bond. They've really gelled well together, and that's partly due to the communication and the community that goes on at Jaguar Racing. They're a really solid team, and that's showing here today. Here we are. This is really interesting. Looking at the energy, Sergio Sette Camera down there in 58%, so he's really going to struggle towards the end of the race. So it's gone up to 59, or is that just my eyesight? But Mitch Evans on 62%, which is brilliant to see. He's probably benefiting a little bit from being in the slipstream behind Sam Bird. Right, back on board with where we were, with Sergio Sette Camera. And now Sam Bird really just extending his lead ahead of Mitch Evans, isn't he?
Well, Evans now is under pressure from Nick Cassidy. They've both activated attack mode once. Cassidy is in attack mode. We're on board with the New Zealander now.
Attack mode will end at this lap.
Mabel 9.
Sergio Sette Camera being told attack mode will end. Cassidy here is going to try and overtake Evans, and that will give him track position because he's got 2 minutes of attack mode left. That's because he's got the 2 chevrons on the left-hand side, and that will be an overtake for position if he can pull it off. Here they come through the left-hander at turn 14 at Clinton Wharf, and this is going to be Cassidy's opportunity. Down the start-finish straight, Sam Bird leads, Evans is second. Evans covers the inside, Cassidy goes to the outside. Not close enough to make a move yet. This is going to be fascinating stuff. Will Cassidy be able to get through as they come up the back straight at Bound Street? Through turn 4. Out onto the back straight. Surely Cassidy's going for it now. Here comes the Envision Virgin car to the outside of his good friend Mitch Evans, and he sweeps through and moves into second place. Neat, tidy move from Cassidy, and he is in now second position. Sam Bird, Da Costa, De Grassi, De Vries and Van Dorn are the 5 drivers who have attack mode.
They've got fan boost, in fact.
24 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Sam Bird is leading the New York City E-Prix, the 11th round of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. He is just coming to the end of his attack mode. Mitch Evans has lost second place to Nick Cassidy now. Cassidy made the overtake. Evans is down to third, but he's in his second attack mode, whereas Cassidy and Bird, Bird has used both of his. Nick Cassidy still has one to use, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it this time around. So it is Sam Bird for the Jaguar Racing team who is out in first position. He emerges onto Bound Street now and comes charging down towards turn 6, and Sam Bird is in front, looking to take victory. Second place is Nick Cassidy. Chasing him down is the other Jaguar of Mitch Evans. Then it's the Porsches, Verline, Lotterer. Then it's Da Costa, Sete Camara and Sims. A gap back to Sebastian Buemi. Then it's Lucas Di Grassi, who's trying to defend his 10th place from Norman Nato coming into turn 6. And those are the points-paying positions. Championship leader Eduardo Mortara is out of the running, really, down in 20th place. Vern is out of the race. Robin Freitz, the other championship leader, is in 17th position as Da Costa activates his second attack mode. Dario Franchitti, 4-time Indy 500 champion, and Nicky Shields with me, Jack Nichols, in commentary. And we are just at the halfway mark now, Dario, and Nick Cassidy has got his second position kind of on merit now.
No, absolutely right. Mitch Evans with his attack mode, he's really going to have to close down Nick Cassidy and get past him quickly, as we see Sergio Sette Camara defending from the Mahindra, the orange and white Mahindra of Alexander Sims, but nothing doing there. But you notice the cars are starting to slide around a lot more. That's as the tyres heat up. The tyres are all conditions. If it rains, they've got tread on them, but they're really tortured in these tight street courses with an amazing torque of electric motors. So they're under a lot of pressure, and the cars are starting to slide around much more as the tyres get out of their sweet spot.
Da Costa, Bird, Van Dorn, De Grassi and De Vries are the 5 drivers who have the fan boost. So they've won the online vote, and as a result will get a power boost in the second half of the race. Mitch Evans goes for second place, up the inside of Nick Cassidy at the Manhattan hairpin, and Evans is through. It's a Jaguar 1-2 again. The 2 Porsches activate their attack mode now as well. And Sam Bird leads, Evans second, Cassidy down to third. Dario, a little surprised Cassidy didn't activate his attack mode then.
Yeah, they've obviously got a strategy, but I was surprised. Let's hear what they say.
Let's go.
Cassidy's saying, okay, let's go.
All right, he sounds pretty cool and calm.
Nicky Shields.
Well, it's all very well activating your attack mode, but you need to have enough energy in the tank to use it. If his energy management hasn't been going so well, maybe it's not the right time at the moment to use it, and he's just doing a bit more lift and coast to make sure he has got enough energy in the tank for a battle towards the end of this race. On board with Pascal Wehrlein.
His teammate Andre Lotterer are trying to get past him. They're both in attack mode at the moment, so they've both got that extra power. I think it'll be Cassidy who will take attack mode this time around.
I think this could be a really interesting battle between Pascal Wehrlein and Andre Lotterer. I mean, Pascal's shown really great performance above, I think, Andre Lotterer so far, but Andre doesn't really like to be the second driver. And there we have it. So that's Nick Cassidy going for his second attack mode. Let's see what he can do with it here. Can he make up the position and take Mitch Evans? He's got 4 minutes of the attack mode to go. Evans has only got 12 seconds left. So remember, that is an extra 17.5% of power. A huge additional injection of power there for the next 4 minutes for Nick Cassidy.
We'll keep an eye on Cassidy. We'll also keep an eye on this 5th and 6th place battle. The 2 Porsches still fighting it out. Wehrlein ahead of Lotterer. Still Alexander Sims and Sergio Sette Camara are having a big old fight for 7th place, although Sette Camara looks a little low on usable energy compared to the rest of the field, but the Dragon car is ahead of the Mahindra car for 7th and 8th positions. So there's the top 2, Bird and Evans. Then it's Cassidy in 3rd. Da Costa's managed to get himself up into 4th place fairly sort of quietly, really, but he's done a good job as the reigning champion to get up into that 4th spot. Still, Alexander Sims and Sergio Sette Camara are fighting it out as they come down towards the left-hander of turn 9. We've got less than 20 minutes plus 1 lap to go, but you can see on the tower there on the left, Sette Camara, 43% of usable energy, 3% less than anyone else. That it takes about 2.5–3% a lap of energy, so he's almost going a lap shorter.
But look at yesterday's winner, Max Günther. He did exactly the same yesterday. Phenomenal energy management. He's got 50% still to go.
but he's down in 18th position.
Ah, yes, that is true. However, he did start right at the back in 23rd. So give him some credit.
Last lap of the race, and Nick Cassidy on that last lap took 0.7 of a second out of Mitch Evans' advantage. The gap comes down to 1.1 seconds. Da Costa is coming with Cassidy. Sims is trying to turn around Sergio Sette Camera at the moment.
You have fan boost if you
5, 2, 3, 5.
You have fan boost if you ever need it.
Sam Bird being told you've got fan boost if you're ever to need it. He, Da Costa, De Grassi, Van Dorn and De Vries are the 5 drivers that will get that boost in the second half of the New York City E-Prix. The 11th round of the Formula E World Championship will be going to London in 2 weeks' time, which obviously we're all looking forward to. Not that it's not lovely to be at New York City, one of the greatest cities in the world. Absolutely phenomenal backdrop and skyline as they come through the Manhattan hairpin up towards Buttermilk Bend. And Bird is leading, but Evans, Cassidy and Da Costa are all coming into the fight just a little bit, aren't they? We're on board with Da Costa on the tower on the left-hand side. That's the view inside the Porsche garage at the moment. And though their 2 cars are squabbling, they've got no real person to attack in front, no real person to defend from. So I'm interested to see where the Porsches end up, Dario, at the end of this E-Prix. And there goes Sims, finally making the move on Sergio Sette Camera. They probably told him he hasn't got much energy, you've got to go for it. Sims has gone for it and gets up into 7th place. So all of these front 4, Dario, seem to be converging a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely right. And watching this battle between Sims and Sette Camera, you couldn't get 2 more different personalities. Alexander Sims, definitely a pragmatic driver, he dances to his own beat a little bit. Sergio Sette Camera, definitely, you know, a very fiery Brazilian, but they've been putting on quite the show. But as you say, Sette Camera just burning through energy. The Porsche guys are worrying me a bit. Rule number 1 racing, you do not hit your teammate, and they are getting very, very close. And we've seen both of them have some incidents in the past.
Here's a replay of Sebastian Buemi. Oh, coming together with Lucas Di Grassi down at turn 6. Those 2 have been rivals since the very start of Formula E, and that incident, unsurprisingly, is under investigation. Looking at it again here, it's a difficult one. Di Grassi seemed to be there on the inside, Dario.
Yeah, we need to see that from a lot earlier in the straight to really understand the full makeup of that incident, I would say. And that's not a cop-out. As you see, Mitch Evans under all kinds of pressure from his countryman, Nick Cassidy. Fabulous job by both of them, but especially the rookie, Nick Cassidy. But looking in his mirrors, here comes this year the current champion, Antonio Felix da Costa, in the black and gold Techeetah.
We're on board with Cassidy here, chasing down Mitch Evans for 2nd place. Through the right-hander now, and the top 4 are starting to come closer and closer together in New York. So Bird leading, his advantage 1.1 seconds, but then everybody's queuing up to the back of Mitch Evans a little, although having said that, Cassidy is now out of attack mode. Da Costa's been able to come with Cassidy, despite not being in attack mode, as they swing through the right and left at the Basin chicane and out over the line again. Da Costa has got fan boost that he could use. He's a little too far back from Cassidy at the moment. Bird also has fan boost that he could use to defend.
Yeah, that
Max
extra...
efficiency, max efficiency.
Maximum efficiency is what Da Costa's being told, Nikki.
I was going to say you get an extra 100 kilojoules of energy during that fan boost for up to 5 seconds. So it's not much, but possibly enough to make a move and make it stick.
So there you saw attack modes remaining. It's only Robin Freitz that has an attack mode remaining. He's running down in 13th place, is the Dutchman. 15 minutes plus 1 lap to go. And Bird is stretching his legs a little, 1.2 seconds clear of his Jaguar teammate Mitch Evans in 2nd place. Described as the final piece in the jigsaw, wasn't he, Sam Bird? And then they're going to have 2 drivers running at the front of the field for Jaguar, and that's what they're doing. Verline and Lotter are closing in. Not really. Their last lap was similar to those in front, but not noticeably quicker. In fact, it was a 1/10 of a second slower than Da Costa as they come through the left-hander at Clinton Wharf again. So as it stands, Bird moves to the top of the championship. Evans goes up into 2nd place, and then Da Costa gets up into 4th. So then there's Mortara, Da Costa and Freitz all on 72 points. And you would have 2 Jaguars and 2 DS Tachitas in the top 6.
Boosting more.
Here comes Nick Cassidy now on the attack for second place. Down towards turn 6. The Jaguar of Evans covers the inside. He's starting to go defensive. Cassidy starting to look racy. But is Da Costa going to take advantage of this? On board with the Portuguese racer in 4th position at the moment. "13 minutes plus 1 lap to go on the streets of Brooklyn, New York City. Sam Bird is leading the way in round 11 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. He's got a 2.5-second lead over his teammate Mitch Evans, and Evans here in the blue and grey car is just in front of his compatriot from New Zealand, Nick Cassidy, who is just in front of the Portuguese reigning champion, Antonio Felix da Costa. A 3-way fight here, Dario Franchitti, for second place. It might even be a 5-way fight because the 2 white and black Porsches are coming to join the fray as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. I would say it's definitely going to be a 5-way fight soon, and I'm surprised at Mitch Evans' lack of pace. I think what's happening is the balance of the car isn't right from the front and the rear aren't working together. One end is sliding a bit more than the other, so he cannot carry the momentum through the corner, and he can't use any more throttle because then he's not going to have enough energy to make the end of the race. He can't regenerate more energy because the balance won't allow him to do it. That's part of the chess game that is Formula E. So yeah, Mitch Evans is looking in his mirrors left and right at the moment, trying to stay cool with his countryman Nick Cassidy right behind him.
And the 2 Porsches have more energy than those 4 cars in front. It's really starting to brew here, Nikki Shields.
Oh, this is so exciting, isn't it? The battle at the top 6. Obviously, Nick Cassidy missing out on that win yesterday. He's so hungry to take his to the win here in New York City. I mean, what a title that would be to have won here on the streets of Brooklyn. Although Sam Bird is doing a phenomenal job now, 2.5 seconds ahead of his teammate Mitch Evans. As you say, the gap is closing up now to 6/10 between Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy. I think he's probably just looking for that moment, getting as close as he possibly can to the Jaguar in front.
Da Costa using his fan boost, coming down the back straight, and he goes to the inside, gets on the dirty stuff, and Nick Cassidy closed the door. Da Costa couldn't make it through. He activated his fan boost, that gave him an extra burst of power down Bound Street in towards turn 6, but he wasn't able to make the overtake.
You would get him, he's over-consuming.
But Da Costa being told on his radio by his race engineer, David Ladouche, that we will get him. He is over-consuming. He's made up 3 places in the race so far, Antonio Felix da Costa. This is the view back, Dario, from Cassidy to Da Costa.
And that's those magic words you want to hear. The guy in front has got less energy than you do, but you've got to take advantage of it and you've got to get past, because the last thing that Antonio Felix da Costa needs right now is while he's trying to set up to pass Nick Cassidy, one of the Porsches sneaks past. Just have a quick look offline. You see the amount of marbles, especially through turn 14. There's marbles, that's the byproduct of the tyre sliding across the surface. If you hit those marbles, if you go slightly offline, from you see the dark spot here, if you go slightly onto the lighter grey point, that is like hitting ice. So the tightrope has got even narrower and the margin for error is even less than it was at the start of the race.
And of course, that's where experience really comes into it. You can see Antonio Felix da Costa right on the rear of Nick Cassidy. You know, he is the reigning champion. He did so well. He has a huge amount of experience. Started in season 1, Antonio Felix da Costa. He really knows how to get the most out of that DS powertrain, and it's in moments like this when it really pays off. Nick Cassidy started off the race by saying on the grid, you know, you can't give 99% in Formula E. You have to give 100%. And perhaps Nick Cassidy, just due to, you know, he is a rookie, it's still, you know, putting in a phenomenal performance, but it's these tiny nuances that make sure you can get absolutely 100% out of the car at all times.
9.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. It's just calmed down a little behind Mitch Evans, hasn't it? Cassidy still there. Da Costa, Verline and Lotterer, the 5-car train for second place. Sam Bird checking out at the moment, out in front. Lucas Di Grassi had a collision with Sebastian Buemi earlier on in the race. He has been given a 10-second penalty, but the battle for second place has got everyone's attention. Through comes Evans. Through the left-hander of turn 6. And it concertinas, doesn't it? Suddenly, you think Cassidy's dropped away, Dario, then he's right back there again.
Yeah, and it just depends on what part of the track the drivers and the teams have chosen to regenerate energy, to save a bit of energy and to go quick. And so it kind of ebbs and flows. If you actually look at the energy number as they drive round, the amount of usable energy left goes up and down as they regenerate and put energy back into the battery too. And the early days of Formula E, they would finish a race with something like, I don't know, 1% of energy. Now we're talking 0.1, and it gets very, very close. They're maximising every little bit of energy they've got in that battery. And Mitch Evans looks a bit more comfortable now as he comes through 14. But Nick Cassidy is not far enough back that Mitch Evans can start, you know, just get a bit relaxed yet. You see him defending again into turn 1, onto the dirty part of the track. The problem with doing that is it puts dust and dirt on the tyres, and it takes a couple of corners for that to clean up.
8 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Bird is 2.1 seconds clear of that battle for second place. Here's Verline's radio.
The race leader has a big gap, so he will manage the race length.
Okay, so that's Verline being told the race leader has a big gap, he will manage the race length. So that means Bird can afford to slow down and make the race 1 lap shorter if it gets tight, because it's a timed race. You can see the amount of energy remaining on the left-hand side. Evans and Cassidy doing similar jobs, but Verline and Lotter in the Porsches have more energy and have pretty much now caught the back, Nikki, of the cars in front.
Yeah, the gap really is closing between the Porsches. Pascal Wehrlein and Andre Lotter are just 6/10 behind Antonio Felix da Costa, but then Antonio 3/10 behind Nick Cassidy. You know, so much still to play for here, and it's the moves in these last few moments of the race that can cause problems. You know, we saw that yesterday with Jean-Eric Vergne tried to make the move for the lead of the race, and then he threw it away, and we saw Nick Cassidy drop back, allowing Max Gunn to take the lead. So we've got these 5 cars sort of bunched up here, and one of them is going to make a move.
Down towards turn 6 we go again, down Bound Street. Look at this 5-car train for second place in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We're on the streets of Brooklyn, New York City, the Red Hook neighborhood, just south of the Brooklyn Bridge. Sam Bird is leading the race, but Evans, his Jaguar teammate, is only just ahead of Nick Cassidy in the Envision Virgin racing car. Then the black and gold DS Techeetah of reigning champion Antonio Felix da Costa. Then it's the 2 Porsches of Wehrlein and Lotterer in 5th and 6th places. Through comes Evans again, around the left-hander, and he is just coming under more and more pressure from Nick Cassidy behind. But at the moment, Dario Franchitti, he's managing to hold it.
Yeah, he absolutely is, Jack, but it's definitely far from ideal if you're Mitch Evans and the Jaguar team, whereas the other end of the spectrum, there's Sam Bird serenely going about his business and just pulling that gap. And we talked about managing the length of the race. It's a timed race, 45 minutes plus 1 lap. So if Sam Bird, he's going to slow it down so the race is 1 lap shorter, so that he can make it to the end with energy. Although if he's managed to save more energy and he's feeling particularly cruel, he might try and extend the length of the race, and everybody behind him will be in trouble. But you see, every time they go into a heavy braking zone, the cars are hitting each other up the back. The driver sits so low, the nose is so long, the driver can't actually see anything much beyond the front of the halo device around their head. So they're just almost driving by feel sometimes, and they like to give the driver in front a little nudge just to let them know they're there.
4-time IndyCar champion Dario Franchitti with us here on our Formula E coverage alongside me, Jack Nicholls, and Nikki Shields.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's happening to the rest of the pack. Alexander Sims 7 seconds behind Andre Lotterer. Right, let's have a look at how the Drivers' Championship would line up. Sam Bird 81 points, Mitch Evans 2 points behind on 79. 3 drivers, Edo Mortara, Antonio Felix da Costa and Robin Freins, all on 72. And Jean-Eric Vergne, the double champion who has won here on the streets of New York before, 68 points.
Sam Bird was in 13th position in the championship morning, and now if it finishes like this, he's going to take the lead of the standings. It's absolutely absurd how quickly things change around in Formula E, and it can happen quickly, and we've got 4 minutes plus 1 lap to go, so things can still change as we're on board with Antonio Felix da Costa. Da Costa chasing down Nick Cassidy, who's being told that he overconsumed on the last 2 laps. A look across the East River to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island over there. But Bird's focus is on leading the way. The Porsche's focus here of Andre Lotterer in 6th place is to try and get involved in this fight and climb up the order.
But the closeness in this championship just makes the competition phenomenal. You know, it's the caliber of drivers. It's also the fact that, you know, we've been working with the Gen 2 powertrain for its 3rd year now. Everyone is so evenly matched, and what it allows for is so many of the drivers, they actually have the opportunity to win, so it just makes them hungrier coming into a race weekend.
Down Bound Street once more. Close. The battle is for 2nd place. We're on board with Sam Bird's driver's eye up in the top left, the camera inside the British driver's helmet. He's already coming down towards turn 9 as Da Costa is just coming out of it. You can barely see Sam Bird, just a speck in the distance as far as Antonio Felix da Costa is concerned. The Portuguese racer from Cascais. And that is Bird's advantage at the Manhattan hairpin with 2 minutes 40 plus 1 lap to go. Dario, when is this going to kick off? It's just brewing, isn't it? It's just waiting for someone to start the chain reaction as we go on board with Bird. You know this view, Dario, leading a race.
Yeah, I love this view. This didn't happen as often as I would like, but Sam Bird, he's in a rhythm here. He's just floating along. He's doing everything perfectly. He's wondering at this point, where is everybody else? There's days that you wonder why they're all so quick. This is one of those days Sam Bird wonders where everybody else is, and he's just got to stay in that rhythm now. Don't slow down too much, and just, I say bring it home. That's easier said than done. Look how tight the circuit is. But the other guys are fighting, and all it's going to take is Nick Cassidy to get a sniff of a gap, and then it's all going to kick off positions 2nd through 6th.
And here it is, what's happened to Mitch Evans? Cassidy's up into 2nd place. Evans has suddenly dropped down to 4th. Nick Cassidy into 2nd position for the Envision Virgin Racing team. Antonio Felix da Costa's got up into 3rd. And Evans has gone from 2nd down to 4th out of absolutely nowhere. It looked like he had it relatively under control. But Cassidy is now into 2nd place. The Kiwi looking for another podium finish. No one has scored more points than Nick Cassidy in the last 2 E-Prix. And it looks as though it's going to be his 2nd podium in 3 races. And now all of a sudden, Evans is really holding up the Porsches. This is what that does to the championship. Bird goes to the top, Da Costa goes to 2nd, Evans goes to 3rd, Mortara and Freins are 4th and 5th, and then Nick Cassidy moves into 6th in the standings, just 11 points off the lead if it finishes like this. But will it? Because Evans is now under pressure from Pascal Wehrlein. Through 2 goes Andre Lotterer. It's all fallen apart for Mitch Evans. Oh, and he's sliding around there. He's almost got no grip, Dario.
It's almost like there's a problem with the left rear. Look at the camber on the left rear. The left rear suspension is broken. I wonder if he's hit the wall and caused that damage, or something is just broken with the car. But Mitch Evans, he's got to limp home. He's got this about 1.5 laps basically to go. Can he bring it home? It's going to be okay going through left-handers. Right-handers, as you see, are a whole different thing.
I wonder if he's hit the wall exactly where he hit it in qualifying. He hit the wall on the exit of turn 4 during the qualifying session. That's what cost him pole position. And I just wonder if he's done the same, because that would explain why he went into turn 4 in 2nd place and came out of it in 5th position. Here we go. Mitch Evans coming around the left-hander now. He's the lead car in this queue. No, Cassidy's got through a little earlier than that, but difficult to tell from there, Dario.
No, exactly right, Jackie. So if the damage is already done, if there is damage, or whether it just broke, I do not know. You look at the steering wheel off to one side as well. And Mitch Evans now, he's in survival mode to bring that car home. It's bucking all over the place, it's sliding, it's crabbing, and that makes it very, very difficult to keep the car on the track, never mind keep position.
We're on the final lap of the New York City E-Prix. Sam Bird is looking set to win again on the streets of New York, as he did back in season 4 of the championship. The two Porsches are fighting each other for 4th and 5th now. Bird and Cassidy and Da Costa all down to 1% energy. Has Da Costa got anything to say about the 2nd place? Cassidy's covering the inside line. Da Costa is trying to get him to overconsume. He's trying to get him offline. He's trying to get him to make a mistake so that he can make an overtake. Sam Bird, though, is coming through the final few corners. He is about to hit the front in New York City. A lights to flag victory for Sam Bird through the final corner. Checker flag falls. Sam Bird and Jaguar win in New York City and take the lead of the championship.
It's coming!
Yeah! Sam Bird across the line singing "It's Coming Home" in reference to the England soccer team's major final. Oh, Evans in trouble, coming across the line. Evans finishes way down the order. In fact, he's not going to cross the line.
Thanks, Nicky. Yeah, great race, great for the team. I mean, what a change today. Well done, Jaguar Racing. I'm so proud of everybody for rebuilding that car.
It now puts you at the top of the driver standings.
How crazy is that? I thought my championship was over after that horror show in Mexico. So, well done, team. It shows how crazy this championship is. My God, we did it. Well done, boys.
Congratulations, another win in New York.
Sam Bird's win moves him to the top of the championship. 81 points now after picking up 29 of those today. Remarkable stuff. And he is now 5 points clear of Antonio Felix da Costa and Robin Freitz. Freitz came through from 21st to finish in 8th place. Remarkable drive from the Dutchman, and he stays level with his good friend Antonio Felix da Costa in 2nd place. You've got Stoffel van Dorn still down in 13th place. The two Mahindras in 16th and 17th. Lotterer's 10 points is only his 2nd points finish of the season. Sorry, his 3rd points finish of the season. Podium celebrations underway. Antonio Felix da Costa up into 3rd place on the podium. Gerd Mauser, the chairman of Jaguar Racing, up there already. Another podium for Nick Cassidy and the Envision Virgin Racing team. And he's delighted with that, isn't he? 2 podiums in 3 races, and all of a sudden he too is in championship contention, and he and Envision Virgin Racing are at the top of the standings. Wants to make the most of it, doesn't he? He says well done to everybody. Fist pump with Gerd Mauser. 2nd place for Nick Cassidy, but an 11th Formula E win for this man. Only Sebastian Buemi has more wins in the ABB FIA Formula E Championship than Sam Bird. Another win for him, his 2nd win for the Jaguar team, his 11th win in the ABB FIA Formula E Championship, and it's actually his 3rd win here. 3 of his 11 race victories have come in New York City. After this, he's going to go and watch England play in the European Championship finals. Then in 2 weeks' time, he's racing at his home race. What a time to be Sam Bird. Up onto the top step. And in a city of skyscrapers, Sam Bird doesn't quite fit in, but he is an absolutely superb racing driver. He's on the top step of the podium, and for he and Jaguar, it's the British national anthem.
From Great Britain.
Another victory for Sam Bird. The top step of the podium again. After a really strong drive in New York City. Lights the flag as well for Sam Bird. And
Joshua Kraus, Executive Vice President, New York
and Gerd Mauser will be handed his trophy by Joshua Kraus, who is the Executive Vice President of the New York City Economic Development Corporation. Another win for Jaguar in Formula E. Only their 3rd. But They are right there in the championship fight. There's George Silberman, the president of ACUS, handing over the third place podium to Antonio Felix da Costa. Da Costa's 14th podium in the championship, and the reigning champion moves up towards the top of the championship standings. And Daniela Lusanen hands over the trophy to Nick Cassidy. And Eric Adams, the president of Brooklyn Borough, hands over the trophy to Sam Bird, who wins again in New York City. A three-peat for the British driver in the Big Apple.
Drivers, it's time for the famous.
And now they will do the podium selfie.
That will be shared across social media.
Nick Cassidy's really missing, isn't he, without his flag? But now the celebration is done. Well, the photo is done. And now the celebrations begin.
Time to celebrate!
Another superb weekend of racing in New York City. And it's Sam Bird, who rather appropriately is covered in the red, white and blue of the American and the British flag as he moves to the top of the championship. Evans locks up! Side by side.
Audi's got problems.
Coming down into 7, and Mortara almost spins out. Cassidy's up into second place. Sam Bird and Jaguar win in New York City.